Hello everyone, this is Josh from Whiskers and Wrenches. We are back at it with another video, and this time we're going to be working on my 1999 Lincoln Town Car. Now, you guys saw this in the background of a few other videos, especially the one we were working on the truck. It was sitting right here. The old blue truck was sitting right here, so you guys kind of caught the end of it. I bought this thing basically for parts for my Crown Vic build that I'm doing inside my shop, but this thing does run and drive even though it has over 300,000 miles on it. The transmission's kind of iffy. The motor doesn't really want to start sometimes. The airbags are blown out of the back. This thing has sadly just kind of reached the end of its life. I know these cars are notorious for going a long time, but I can't really bring myself to put this thing back on the road with how much it really needs. I mean, that transmission, I'd have to pull the transmission out, put a remanufactured one or a junkyard one in, have to figure out why it takes so long to start some days. I mean, I have to put all new airbags on the back of it. I mean, I've already got half the interior ripped out for wiring and everything like that for my Crown Vic. So this thing is destined to be a parts car. Now, thankfully, I did buy this thing for really cheap. It does have a title. Granted, it has some issues. The guy I bought it from got it from the owner with the title, signed it, never dated it, and then never put it in his name because he never got around to driving it. It just sat in the back lot. He did say if I ever want to put it back on the road, just give him a holler. As long as I pay the titling fees to put it into his name, he'd sign it right back over to me, and it would be all good so I could put it in my name. Now, I originally bought this thing for parts, like I said, so I was like, I'm not really caring that much. The junkyards around here will take things without titles. I'm probably just going to rip most of the parts off of it and send it off to the scrapyard anyway, so I don't really care about spending, $200-300 on putting it in your name just so I can put it in my name and then scrap it for $300 later when I could have scrapped it without a title. But looking into it now, I have been having a little bit of fun with it. Today we're going to weld up the rear end on it because I ripped the rear disc brake mounting points off of it. I'm doing a dual caliper setup on my old Crown Vic for a hydraulic e-brake for drifting and things like that. So this thing, I had the whole rear end tore apart, and I thought, right now would be the perfect time to weld up that rear end for better burnouts, because this thing, well, I don't have videos of it, but it's a one-wheel peeler. It does do that extremely well, though I've left some burnout marks on my little concrete pad here, and this thing will just light that one tire up really good. But I want to see dual-wheel burnouts. I want to have this thing screaming and lighting up these junk tires in the back of it, because the tires in the back of this thing are from like 2012, so they're really old, they're dry-rotted, they're not great, so they're perfect for burnout tires. Now, we are going to do a few little things to it, like weld that rear end. We're going to probably put some seats in it that I have in the back. I have about 3 or 4 Crown Vics into my Crown Vic right now, other than this Lincoln Town Car and another Lincoln Town Car. So I have a couple sets of seats for this thing. Now, I ripped the seats out of this one because my neighbor had those tires that we put on that old blue Chevy, and he said, hey, if you give me the driver's seat out of that car, I will mount them and balance them on those rims for you for completely free. Just, trade me the seat in this thing. So I was like, you know what? Perfect. That works out for me. His dad's got one just like this. His is a 2000. This is a 99. And his seat was pretty wore out and mine still worked great. So I was like, you know what? Perfect. Bought a car for cheap, using it, to keep other ones on the road. So that's what it's all about. I also am thinking about cutting the roof off this thing, maybe making it a drift car or an off-road buggy, putting some big fat tires on the rear end. I don't know. It's going to kind of, play it by ear, have fun with it, kind of see where it goes. Alrighty, well, enough with me rambling. Let's get into it. Alrighty, a little tidbit for you guys. If you do not know what an open or limited slip diff or anything like that is, I'll do a quick explanation here. An open diff is just what it sounds like, completely open. The wheels are not linked together. As you can see, this one I can move forward. I spin this one forward and it's moving backwards there. These wheels are not linked. They have a set of gears up in here that let them move independently of each other. This is better for day-to-day operations. If you're doing a corner, like if you're turning this way, this wheel is going to have to spin a lot slower than that wheel because that one's going to be traveling a bigger distance. I'll show a little breakdown of kind of what I mean here. Your outer wheel is going to want to go a lot longer than your inner wheel, so this will allow those wheels to do that. Now, there is a downside to this. Now, if you're in snow, ice, rain, mud, anything like that, and you need power and one of your wheels starts slipping, your wheel is just going to continuously slip and your other one's not going to move at all. I.e., if I put a breaker bar or something into that wheel, I'd be able to spin this axle itself and that one would not spin at all, which is why a lot of times on off-road vehicles, drift cars, track cars, anything like that, you see what's called a limited slip, a locker, anything like that. Now, what the purpose of all those is they keep these wheels locked together a lot more firmly than an open diff. Now, on a limited slip, you're going to have some clutches that go in here that do allow a little bit of slippage between these two. Like if you're taking a corner or anything like that, it allows them to move semi-independently. But when you need power, they're going to lock up and you're going to have both of these wheels spinning in sync to get you out of a mud pit, ice, snow, anything like that, or do better burnouts. Now, there is a completely locked diff, which is what we are going to do now. where these wheels are going to be completely locked together. Now, this does put strain and stress on your rear end components. It's not something you really want to do for a daily driver, because if you plan on parking it, turning it, anything like that, you're going to have one of these wheels chirp, which is what it's called. It's where, since they have to move in sync now that one of them is moving a lot more than the other one, they're going to slip and chirp, and you're going to hear little creak, 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 creak from where your tires are actually doing mini burnouts trying to keep up with the other one. So this is not something you want to do on a daily driver, but if you're having a drift build, an off-road rig, something like that, you need these tires to stay locked together. Now, there is correct ways of doing this, which is taking these things out, putting an actual limited slip differential in here, taking this whole center section out, pulling these bolts, everything like that, putting one that's actually built to be a limited slip. But this is a cheap and dirty way to have better burnouts. Again, it's not recommended for daily use, but it'll work for a little drift car. Now, the first thing you want to do is, once you're under here, is you're going to want to take your rear differential cover off. I've got that in that bucket over there. I already had this one off because I was doing work to it, but it's very simple. You just take the bolts off around there, give it a little tappy. She'll come right out. All the fluid and everything like that will drain. Once you do that, you want to grab some brake clean. I do recommend the non-flammable stuff because they're going to be welding in a minute, and welding does put out a lot of sparks, but my local parts store only had the flammable stuff, so this is what we're going to run. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to be welding all these gears in here together. You're going to want to clean these things up, spray a bunch of this brake cleaner in there, get them, as you can see here, I've already cleaned them a little bit. This is really dull and dark, and these are silver. That's what you want. Metal bonds to metal. Metal does not bond to grease or grime or oil or anything like that. So you're going to want to get these things as clean as you possibly can.
Where's the spray there?
Now, this is one of the most important steps here. You want to make sure you've got all the grease and everything like that off all these gears. Grease does not let weld stick, so you want to make sure you get all this grease out of there. Don't be stingy with it. Brake clean is cheap. Alrighty, now that we got that clean, what you're supposed to do in something like this is take a piece of metal, fill this big old gap right here where this little bar is coming down, and then weld everything to that, like your little side, everything like that. It's going to give it more purchase. I'm going to go find a piece of metal. Hopefully I can find something that'll fit that, because this is really what's going to kill you. If you don't do that, you can get away with it, but you're running a pretty big risk of your weld snapping when you really get on this thing. Fun thing I'll show you guys about this town car, as you can tell, it's got the rear suspension delete kit. I installed this myself. The airbags were blown on this thing, so put some blocks up on here to keep the fuel tank from rubbing on the ground, and we just sent it. We had so much fun. This thing rides like a damn like a damn semi truck, but it is like the most fun I've had in a car. There's no suspension back in here. The only give you have is in the tires themselves. So I ran the tires a little bit low on pressure so they'd be a little bit more cushy for the ride. You see we got a little pieces right there. Yippee. Now you can see up in here, we got that little piece right in there. We're going to get this thing tacked into place and then start throwing some good welds on it. Now, one thing I see a lot of people mess up with is where they put their grounding clamp. Right here, this little guy. You want to put this on the gear itself, this big one right here, not on the housing. A lot of people put it on the housing, then they have issues where their bearings in here get welded. Well, metal passes electricity pretty darn good, and that's why you want to have this thing basically as close as you possibly can to it, and that big old gear right there is our best possible thing. La 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 la, talking over the copyrighted music. La 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 la. Content match, can't have that. La 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 la, talking over the copyrighted music. La 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 la. Content match, can't have that. I'm gonna go get some water real quick. I'll be right back. There we go. But as you can see, that right there is why you don't want flammable brake clean. You can get a little bit of a fire sometimes. No, I never claimed to be a welder, and this does look like Helen Keller herself got reincarnated just to weld it. Oh, come on, focus now. Even my phone doesn't want to see it. It's bad. But it does look like Helen Keller herself welded it, but I've got a bunch of weld and everything up and where these gears meet, where those gears meet, where those gears meet, and where those gears meet. I'm going to do a quick little pass right around this little metal piece we got here, and then I'm going to put this thing in neutral, and we're going to spin and do the other side. Well, I never claimed to be a welder, but there she is. So this is what you kind of want to do, maybe a little bit cleaner, but you just want to glop a lot of welds in this corner, that corner, that corner, and that corner. You really just have to hold these gears all together. Again, it's not very pretty, but I mean, I never claimed to be a welder, and it just has to, you know, nobody's going to see this, just has to hold these gears together. Now the next step is scooping all this stuff out of here, all that slag and everything. You really should put a blanket on this thing before you do any welding, so none of them sparks, anything like that fall down into here. I'm gonna do that tomorrow because it is extremely cold and I am completely frozen solid right now. Well, eagle-eyed viewers will notice this is about a week and a half after I recorded the first bit of this video. But we are back up under here after the beautiful weld job that yours truly did up there. Again, it does look like Helen Keller was reincarnated to do my welds, but at the end of the day, it looks like it's holding just fine, so that's all I really care about. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. So I'm really quickly just going to fish all the junk and slag and everything out of the bottom of this guy, and then we are going to clean up the area and put some RTV on the diff cover, because that stuff does have to sit for about a day before you really want to put fluid to it, and I'm going to finish this thing up this weekend. So it's currently Thursday, I'm going to do this real quick, and then you're going to get another cut to when I hopefully actually fill this thing full of fluid and get it ready, because Sunday there's supposed to be a lot of snow, and this thing would be awesome to go out and do burnouts and donuts and stuff in the snow with. So I'm looking forward to it. I want it ready by then. Oh yeah, yummy. Oh yes. Oh, yummy. Oh, I love how there's this little gap. Oh, there's water in here. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's really nice. Oh yeah, that's a good sign. Oh yeah, bud. There's ice. There's just all my slag for my welds that didn't stick. Ooh, it's cold too. Oh my goodness, my fingers are freezing right now. Holy crap. Ooh. So I want to try to get most of the stuff out of here because it's not very good for the gears and everything to have all that yummy, crappy, junky muck in there. But yet again, this thing is kind of a beater, so I'm not really that worried about it. And my fingers are cold already. Grab a little bit of steel wool here, clean up this mating area for when I put the RTV down. Scrub it a little bit. We'll do the same on the diff cover. And then we will tighten this thing up a little bit and let it sit for a couple days. And hopefully, like I said, have this thing ready for burnouts and stuff in the extreme cold weather that we are going to have. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that beautiful smudge smear we got going on. It's absolutely gorgeous. Let's get under the car and slap this puppy on there. Perfect. Yippee. Ugh. Ugh. We'll say hello to your guys' self, but this is my little tripod dude, and I broke him. I actually found him under the backseat of the Lincoln Town Car, and it was like the first tripod I had for YouTube. So this is kind of a sad moment. Might try to fix it, drive a screw or something through there to hold it in, but you can see little tabs that hold it in there. Well, before we actually get out of here, since we're out here right now, I just fell over backwards. Let's put a seat in this thing. I took the front seats out of it to trade to my neighbor for taking the wheels off that old Chevy that we worked on and mounting those tires I bought off of him. I traded in the seats in this thing for it. I've got a couple of old just cloth seats from my old Crown Vic before I put the, or I think they were blue cloth seats or orange or something. No. I've got some old tan seats that I bought when I first bought my Crown Vic. They were the later model ones. They're a little bit more comfortable. I put black cloth seats to match the interior on that thing, and I'm currently putting leather in seats in it. So I'm going to put the junky tan cloth seats in this thing just to have a driver's seat in the very least, so I can put this thing around. I may not have passenger seats at all, but I'll at least be able to drive it around the block and have fun in the snow. Perfect. Look at that. Now our beautiful seat ain't going anywhere. We can climb up in here and sit down like, oh, nobody's business. This thing's so comfy. Oh yeah, but I also just ripped my pants doing that. That was really cool. Oh, I have the key in here for this thing. I forgot about that. I'm surprised nobody stole it. It's not like it's up on jack stands or anything. One more thing I am gonna do, hopefully real quick, is put the taillights on here. I took the taillights off of these because my neighbor, that way you can see right above my truck, he has one right there, a Lincoln Town Car just like this one. Had somebody pull out of a parking spot and crack his taillight on that side. I said, hey, you know, he asked me, he's like, hey, you know, I know you're parking that thing out. How much you want for the taillights? I'm like, I'll just throw them in. I don't need them as long as you give me your old one so I can drive it on the road legally. Alrighty, now that we got the taillights in, the seats in, and the diff cover put back on, the only thing left now is to put fluid in the back end of it. And I'll probably just do that Saturday, start it up, get the battery charged, then Sunday morning we'll take it out for a drive. Alrighty. Now I just hope this thing comes out pretty easy. Is it already done? This already is done. I'm gonna be so happy because last time I did this, it went so much harder. Oh yeah, she's got fluid in there. She's got plenty of fluid in there. Well, that's that filled up. All right, this is where I do a little bit of post editing. As you can see here, I got 30 minutes on this video, 48 minutes on this video. This thing was extremely cold-blooded and really didn't want to start, so I'm just going to cut in little snippets here and there. And then we will cut to doing some sweet burnouts. Come on. I heard you. Come on. We're so close. It coughs every now and then. I know it wants it. I know it wants it. Come on. All right, come on. You can do it. You want a little bit of spray, don't you, you greedy bastard? Come on. Test now. Will it actually do a burnout? Add some sauce on there. Nice transmission fluid on there. On both sides here. She does good burnouts, bud. Howdy. Oh, it was just this. I was just doing a burnout. Yeah, I know I'm not doing it on the street or nothing, but well, that is where this video is gonna end. As you can tell, I got my beautiful burnout machine going again. That was pretty darn awesome. I got the diff welded, got a seat put back in it, got the tire or the lights back on the back. So this thing actually is ready for better burnouts and everything like that. We are supposed to get snow tonight, and then tomorrow throughout the day and everything like that. I'm gonna try to find a place to do burnouts and just have fun in the snow and everything like that. You guys will catch that in a later video, me taking the truck out, this thing out, just having fun in the snow whenever we get a bunch of it. So hope you guys liked the video. Hope you like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. This is Josh from Whiskers and Wrenches, and here's my brand new burnout machine, Lincoln. You know what? I'll give you guys one more for the road. Among Us. Dreams are made of these. Give him a tune up. Look at that.
Yummers.